Hi there. I have a couple of horror stories for you coming from the USA this week. So starting off, the story is Mystery on the Mountains, submitted by Kayshawn of Indiana. Now this is a story that I promised to never tell anyone, in fear of reawakening survival retributions. It was 6 years ago, and I was hiking up with my wife, Jackson, in the western states Kentucky. Hiking between the Blue Stake Mountains, chrysalises of birds stained the air above, making the ground a swirl with moving shadows. As we hiked towards the first crescent mark, I submitted my map to an investigation, and happy with the present trajectory, we continued our trek. I stumbled a couple of times as we climbed higher. The loose rocks underfoot fell hundreds of yards down to our left into a dangerous precipice. My wife Jackson stumbled less, as she was carrying the bags including our cooking equipment and tent. As the sun went down that night, we reached the first crescent mark. It was time to set up camp for the night. I found a courteous rock to sit on to study today's hike on the map, while Jackson set up the camp, then began to prepare the evening meal. As we sat there enjoying our food, a scream came from the trees to the east, followed by an inhuman gurgle. Jackson clutched me for safety. I urged her to get into the tent as soon as possible to hide and to secure herself inside the sleeping bag. I stood up and pointed my expensive flashlight into the forest surrounding us. Movement was obscured by the moving shadows as I moved the torch's beam quickly from left to right. Reaching into my rucksack that I'd not yet unpacked, I brought out my CD player and plugged in the independent speakers that I brought just in case. Turning on the power and inserting my favorite Bee Gees album, I turned on the music at full volume to bewilder whatever was hiding in the woods over there. Be it a person in need, a strange beast, or a ghostly danger, I was sure that I would bewilder them at once with the loud 70s music. As I peered deeply into the trees, Jackson had come back out of the tent and was dancing along to the music. She took my hand, and as we swung our arms about amongst the ferns, our grins told their own tale to the very nature that surrounded us. If the sparkle in our eyes that night could tell a story, it be one of grandeur, surprise, and flamboyance. Tale number 2. This one was submitted by Luke from Birmingham, Alabama. It had been a hard day of work, and I just wanted to get home to rest, even though I knew that my mother would be nagging me endlessly once I arrived home. As I walked the soapy streets of Birmingham, a cold car pulled up beside me on the roadside. I walked faster, but the car could easily keep up with me. The window slowly cranked down, and a ghoulish voice beckoned.
"Come inside the car, my friend. I'll give you a ride to keep you warm in my special car."
Now I've seen enough horror movies to know that turning down a ride from a stranger can result in the car running you down in a minute or two later, so I opened the back door of the car, noticing a complicated lock on the car's door, caging surrounding the rear seats, segregating them from the front of the car. There was red stains covering the grey seats inside, so I got in quickly to avoid any awkwardness with the mysterious driver. As I closed the door, I heard a loud locking mechanism clanking throughout the door's framework, no doubt keeping me safe from whatever terrors might be lurking on the outside this evening. The car started moving as I told the man my address. He laughed, and I heard him quietly say,
"I don't know where that is, my friend, but I don't need to know anyway."
As I sat in the back, I noticed that the car was getting colder and colder, and as I sat there looking at the rusty cage that was surrounding me, I began to wonder what it was for. It was just then that the driver began to laugh quietly to himself in such a ghoulish manner. As I was starting to ask him what was so funny, the car stopped outside my house and he opened the door for me. I was home safe, thanks to my new friend. Now over the next few weeks, I saw the very car parked directly outside my house. Its window was down a crack and I could see binoculars protruding from the car looking directly into my home. I think this was because the driver was probably checking to see if I was still safe. Well, I want to thank the two guys that submitted these stories. They were ever so scary, and hopefully they'll help you to stay awake for a couple of nights. Okay guys, take care. I'll see you next time.
Thank you ever so much for watching my very good video. Don't forget to subscribe to the Very Good channel and come back next week for another very good video. A video to watch. Now, it's a good video.